There we go. We appear to be back. Something like that. Right. Now I'll put the music on again. It's going to be fairly loud. See, the thing is, it's loud for me, and then when I listen back to the recording, I record it and it's quiet, and then I don't know. This seems better than it was before, perhaps. Anyway, let me do that. There we go. Whatever. If I start going deaf, then my voice seems to be in a good spot there, just below yellow. Right. So we managed to get this working on my actual live server. Nobody's really been on my server. So I will need to get somebody to come on and test it at some point. I'll fire up Minecraft regardless at the moment. Let's close Discord. Don't need that at the moment. Yeah, see on my desktop audio, I know it's quite a bit in the music at the moment, but it's like half of what my microphone is, which should be about background music volume, so whatever. I will keep tweaking it until I find a good balance. But so I can't yet test the adding and removing of members, but that's something I need to work on. But as again, I need other people. So I'm gonna work on the other mod, because this one does still, you can still claim your land and protect areas, and at least for me now, my initial base and stuff is safe on the server from people interacting and destroying and building and shit, which is good. So I'm going to start working on my dungeons mod. So I've done literally nothing on this. It's got the bare minimum. So we need to start fleshing out the actual structure, architecture of it. So I use the old enterprise architect just to give it a go. So it's something I learned from doing this in the past. I'm just going to do it in the guilds crap here. Actually, this is something that would be quite cool. So if I go into here and I go code imports Java. So we're going to pop into Minecraft. We go into guilds, source, main, Java, com, guilds. Okay. We've got two versions of stuff. Hang on, let me clear all this out. And then do it again, and then get the right versions of everything. Some of them will be empty, of course, but it only takes it like half a second, as you saw, to import all of the codes. So well, it's good to see what it actually looks like from a UML perspective. Delete guilds, yeah. So if you do the same again, should remember where it left off. And then if we go in class model, come on, yeah, do it, thank you. We haven't done anything with that yet. Land. Perfect. So now you can see this is all the code that we've been doing. All as UML, exactly as it is in Java. It's pretty cool. All the objects, all the methods, their public, private, their returns and parameters and everything. It's great. And you can, if you want to, if I wanted to, I could design all the code in here exclusively, but we're not going to do that because it's fairly straightforward, but it's not necessary, because Eclipse does so much useful things for you. But we don't need to see this at the moment. So we're going to make a new class somewhere. There we go. So it's going to be dungeon. Okay. So from my previous experience, you want to separate the data of the dungeon from the functionality. So directed association, and we're going to have, now I've called it dungeon. Technically, if we wanted to do it for PvP, we would do something like this. So I'm going to call them arenas instead. The mod can be called dungeons, which is what it would mostly be. So wait, this is going to be arena data. This is going to be called wow, typing. This is an arena, and then you have a class which is a specialization called dungeon, and then you have another one, specialization, which will be a PvP arena, right? So we've got this base class which will have common functionality to both dungeons and PvP arenas, and then data, and then you can have specialization, which should be dungeon data, and then something like that. You get the idea anyway. This way we have two classes that can inherit base functionality from a base class, and then we also have data, and the data can inherit from base things. So all arenas are going to have a name, I'm trying to think whether they're active or not, their location, like their start location, their end location for the two blocks that represent sort of a cube, possibly like the rewards at the end, all that kind of stuff, and it's useful to think like that. Now this link is kind of redundant, so it would actually be more like this. So this is now saying that we've got, let's do layout. It's not too bad. Yeah, there we go. That's quite nice. So we've got this concept of an arena, both dungeon and PvP arena. Then we have general arena data, and then we have dungeon and PvP data specifically. So yeah, that's what we're going for, I think. We can change it whenever really, but so we want a class called arena. In dungeon we then make it extends arena. So we've got that, and then we create a new class, PvP arena. Then we create a new class called arena data. And then this extends arena data. And then we make a PvP arena data class that extends arena data. Okay, now the data in this case, that's going to be what's saving and loading itself in the config. So all of the config data is going to be managed within itself. So then the dungeons functionality can be separate and just manage commands and not much else, which would be different to how we've done it in the guilds, where it's all like this mess. However, we do need to commandeer this on command method here and do the same thing here. There shouldn't be any errors, I think. Yeah, great. Okay, so now we've got the copy of this. I probably don't need this text up here anymore, which works exactly the same as all the others. Got this commands thing here, so let's start with the basics. Create dungeon, delete dungeon, basically. So let's have a look in here. So dungeon create command. So if I close all but this, open up our dungeons, and then open up another command that works. So we want this command string here. Delete the string here, get rid of that. Okay, so this is specifically create dungeon, not create arena. PvP is going to be a completely separate set of commands. In fact, I may even do them under a separate sort of .pvp.commands or something. Now actually, do they need to be different? I think it doesn't matter for now. We're just going to make the core functionality for it, but yeah, it has to be different because it's unique, because you're either creating a dungeon or a PvP arena. It's fine, it's fine. Okay, so all we're doing, oh, I haven't even implemented delete guild. I'll get around to that at some point. So we probably want this. Oh, for God's sake, mouse. There we go. I made the mouse move slower, right? It's not going to flicker around as much. Okay, so we want to basically, we would go if get plugin dot if dungeon exists. Okay, so we're gonna make them unique based on their name, and the name's going to be args1. So we also want a greater than. I'm going to leave it with just one argument for now, but in my previous version I made it so you could add in lots of arguments and you could set up quite a lot of the dungeon in one command, but for simplicity's sake I'm going to leave it as it is at the moment. So dungeon name equals args0. And it's if not dungeon exists. So we do the usual generic stuff here. So we go for we want a map, so it's going to be static array list. Oh yeah, we need to make So arena is a abstract class, and arena data is an abstract class, because we have to be specific with them. Open that up again. Dungeons equals new list. Perfect. And then we loop through for each dungeon d in d dot. Okay, so now we want to put some properties into dungeon arena data. So as this is the core data, we're going to have just the basics. So we want a name. We're then going to have, what else did I think? There's going to be, typing is active. Let's just start with that for now. So goes and says, do the usual, and then we want yeah, we're only going to be accessing them in specific ways. So this is going to have private dungeon data, just call it data. Getter and setter. But then we're going to have to create some methods. So for instance, we want to get the name as probably, rather than going .dungeon data .get name, we're going to create some sort of shortcuts, I suppose. So if we get dungeon name string return data.get name. Okay. So dungeons now have this concept of get name. So if dungeon.get dungeon name equals dungeon name, return true. There we go. So we've added name, we've added stuff specifically to arena data. Dungeons now have their own set of dungeon data. Okay, and now we can iterate through the list and compare names when players create the name. So if I go back to this, if it doesn't already exist, okay, so we're probably going to want a method that takes in a string, which just very simply sets the name. So it's going to be data.setName dungeon name. Simple as that, right? That's probably the most basic form. We create it and it's got a name. Simple as that. And then instead of doing this, we go plugin a dungeon my bad. Come on, this is basic stuff. Yeah, I know, I'm trying to. You're not going to do that. Okay, fine, I'll do it manually, jeez. You happy now? I thought so. Okay. So we got a pretty straightforward thing going. Get the player types in, create dungeon space, the name, we get the name, check whether it exists, if it doesn't, add the dungeon. So we do need a method, a way of making sure the data gets updated properly, which will be handled in here. So let's think. They're going to be uniquely named whether they're a dungeon or not. So what we want to do, I don't want to overdo anything special with these methods. So, oh yes, we also want the data to have control over the config, so it manages it itself, perhaps. I think that's probably the best way for it, although it might convolute the data file. But then we could do stuff like every time the set name is run, it saves it in the file, and then all the other properties can manage themselves basically. But then we potentially run into issues where I don't know what to do about this actually, so let's just do it and see what happens. So this would need access to the plugin, right? So we'd want dungeons plugin. So, it goes and says plugin. Okay. So when we create it, it's at this point that the data should kind of, so we're creating a new dungeon. This is quite tricky. Because we could, for instance, okay, let's keep this really straightforward actually. Data.update. We're going to make a method Eclipse doesn't seem to like this. Thank you. You can let me do this. Okay, I'm just going to close Eclipse. It's having some weird issues doing auto completes and stuff. music up a bit again. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what this will do, okay, so we've got a global update method. Okay, and we want to put this in the base class, possibly. Or actually, a better way of doing this: public abstract void Okay, that's going to create an error in the PvP arena, and then we can automatically do that. And then when we go into dungeon data here, okay, so they now have to have their own update code and manage themselves. So what we're going to do, let's just shorthand this because we can. Just call it plug. In the config. Okay, now we don't have to keep doing plug.config, so config.set. So it's going to be dungeons dungeon name, and the value is going to be get name. I think that's right, and that's all we've gotten so far. Just keep it simple. We're going to make this have a public void update, which will run this. So you have to manually do an update instead. Everywhere you do something that would cause the config to need to change. We want this. Yeah, well. Okay, that's fine. And then we do as p.send message. And that's going to be that. Log 0. And then dungeon name not provided. Okay, pretty straightforward. So we've got that, create dungeon, we go into dungeons here, static, we go commands dot put sorry, it's dungeon create run dot command text, and then new dungeon create grand. So that command's now in the list. And then we go into plugin, yoink this. So we don't need arena data, we probably don't need the create command. Oh wait, sorry, dungeon create command, create dungeon. I'm just trying to see this all the way through, get at least proof of concept for one. Okay, this all seems to be in order. So we don't need the create guild, don't need the arena, don't need arena data. We also wanted to do something with this, which is something about default, but I'm pretty sure there's a way of making it generate the config from scratch. Who knows? Adding it to the list, searching, checking if the name equals. I don't know why I made the dungeons list there static, kind of pointless. And there was only ever one of these, so yeah, whatever. Don't know why we've got that. Seems a little excessive. I don't think I need to do anything else here. Put the dungeon with a name, creates the dungeon data. When we create it, tells you stuff. Dungeon. Oh, whoops. Perfect. That should do the trick. Dungeon not exist, get dungeon name, dungeon new dungeon plugin. Get plugin. Update the dungeon, tell the user. And error checking. Okay, yeah, I think we're good to test it. See how far we've got. That was from scratch, where none of this code existed, so let's see what happens, shall we? Right, so I need to open 2 instances of this again. Right. So now we get to dungeons, target, this, server, plugins, dungeons. We run it. Right. Let's see how far it gets. It could work straight away. Oh, I've run out of tea again. I'll go and get some after this. I would put some log info and stuff in it, but I have a feeling it would likely just works. Yeah, enabling dungeons. Cool, so it's there, exists. Go on my server. Alright, wish me luck. Oh my. So hopefully we still can't, yep. Haven't changed any of that. Okay, so we do create dungeon. Oh, I've got caps on. Test. An internal error occurred. Did it though? Okay. 23, perform dungeon command. Oh, come on. Scroll, damn it. 23. Have I not assigned the plugin? Probably. Do I need like a... Oh, I know, I've forgotten. There's a line of code on the on enable in here. This. We didn't tell them the that we exist. That's fine. Okay, that's not too bad. Try again. Build success. Go in here, get this, hit enter in here. Slow thing. Plugins. Okay. Copy, paste, thank you. Server, unserver. Oh, I can do pop-out chat, can I? How's this work? Right, it gives me an entire separate screen for it. I mean, fair enough. Hey, we're back and working. I will play around with Streamlabs more. Oh, this just looks fucking gorgeous. Right. Okay. Dungeon test has been created. Well, that's promising. So that could hopefully, if we go into plugins, dungeons, config, dungeons, dungeon name, test. Now I probably don't need that. Yeah, that's wrong, but it's fine. Cool. Close that. Stop the server. Perfect. In 30 minutes, went from nothing to a command that generates code. So we close this, close that. So the bit that was wrong was this, and it's meant to be that. So then it's dungeons, and then the dungeon name is the sort of header for it. So the dungeon name is like encompassing all of its own properties then. Fantastic. So let's think. So there's a few more things that we need. So one of which I'm gonna need is these, because they're like vital string to location, location to string. Right then. So I firstly need to set the dungeon location. So I haven't actually created a command for this yet because I forgot about it. So it's this is actually going to be for both arenas. So it's going to be because the names are unique, it should be fine, shouldn't it? Yeah. So this is going to inherit from B command. Oh. Okay. Set start location command. I know it's a bit long rendered, but it gets the job done, you know. Yeah, alright, apparently my lovely AI lady decided to communicate with me there. Need this. Okay, so do we need to plug in this? Come and do that. This. Back into dungeons, add the commands. Copy that, go back into here. Wrong thing, this. Yeah, this is going to be pretty good actually. So, got that, import that. Commands added, no problem. We need to go into this, wrong thing. And then go into this. So now we would need two more things. So we want location, start lock equals new equals null, and then it's a come on, give me my options please. Why is it struggling with this? Okay, we'll steal it from something else. Oh no, we've actually already got the right type of location. There we go. You happy now? Good. End location. So it's going to give us 2 points that define the cube, basically, you know, bottom left hand corner, top right hand corner, essentially. Source generic gets and says perfect. So now we've got the concept of start and an end location. So in here we would then start doing stuff like this. Alright, and then we would set start location, and then it would be dot location to string, and then it would be get start location, and then we'd copy this. This is how easy this gets, and then this is going to be end location, end location, and there we go. So this is going to be dungeons.test.start location, and then comma, you know, 1 2 3 1 2 1 or whatever it, you know, same as in the other plugin. So problem solved there. So we've already got the config bit working. We'll need to do some error checking and stuff in here at some point, but for now we're just going to assume it's has one. I think although in here no, okay, don't worry, we'll figure this out. Yeah, because that actually does need to do yeah, you probably do need to be a bit careful there. If oh, what am I doing? Okay, and simple as that. Problem solved. That should be fine. Then in here, all we have to do is do if args arenas set start location command. So this is going to be if args dot length greater than, so it's going to be, the first one's going to be the dungeon. Actually, it's just going to be one command, isn't it? So it's going to be and then when we run the update, it's generic. Okay, so this should be our first proper use of the fact that we've got inheritance with the data. So what we can do, so if the length is greater than 0, we can do it. If plugin get plugin dot dungeon exists args 0 so what we're going to do is dot get plugin dot get so let's get arena, because it's not specific to dungeons. Then we want to make a method in here, and that's going to okay, and then we go for, so we want to get this. Oh, turn D. There we go. Don't know why I'm doing that. And then eventually there'll just be another equivalent of this for arenas. So what we're doing here, so yeah, for PvP arenas, because dungeon inherits from arena, we can just pass the arena back. So in here we've got access to an arena. Okay, and then we can go a dot can we? No, we can't. This is tricky because I've gone kind of a hybrid of using inheritance properly and not quite, but the not quite makes it a bit more convenient in some cases but not in others, and this is one of those cases where it's not. So arenas don't generically have arena data in them, but we can change that. It's the equivalent of this, really. Oh wait, sorry, I know what I'm doing wrong here. It's good grief. So it's public arena data right. Okay. And then this is going to override. Sorry, I'm not talking much here. This is kind of awkward. Bloody hell. Okay, because it's overriding it, it can return the data it wants, and it returns it as arena data. And if you want to cast it to what it actually is, we cast it to dungeon data. Right. And then here we can do get data dot set. There we go. Start location. Okay, so we want so this is going to equal player p equals player sender. Oh, sorry that took so long. There's better ways round of this, and I didn't have it right in my head for a while there. Okay, simple as that for now. So that will get the location the player's standing on. I used to have this hooked into world edit, so you'd select the first and last point, and then I could get access to that. It's not particularly necessary at the moment, so and then we can do a.up get data.update. And if we wanted to access specifically dungeon data, we would just put brackets and cast that to the dungeon data. I'm surprised this hasn't complained. Because this is an abstract method. Have I not? This hasn't. Right. That's why. I was wondering. So then we go into here and we get the equivalent of this. PvP arena. PvP data. And then this is PvP arena data. And this returns data. There we go. Oh. Perfect, right. Just tidying it all up now. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, this should probably have an update method instead of this. Let's just put that in the base class. Okay, perfect. And then this doesn't need to do that. Okay, so that's doing set start location. That's going to run update, which runs update. And the update in arena data, in this case, will run the dungeon data, which will do this. Wonderful. And then I can copy the text in the S and do the set end location. Set arena. There we go. You can close that. And then there's a straight copy of this. Literally change end location. End location. Get rid of that, do that, clear out some lines. You take this, set end location, and then we go back into dungeons, we go all the way up here. Keep doing that. End location. Okay, that should just work, hopefully. We also, when we need to, I forgot, we need to add the world as well to the dungeon create. So in the raw data, arena data, all we have to do is go world. Bukkit world. Source generate. Getter and setter for it. Dungeons create command. A dungeon d.get data.set world. And then I just need to pop into this. There's an easy way to get the world. Was it in here? Where did we do all that? Oh, you can just get the chunk. So close that, close that, close that. Okay, dungeon. So we want to go p.get world. Set world, and then in the update, in our case is the dungeon data. We just have another one which is the equivalent of this, which is world get world. I think that's what we did to save it. World.get name. Okay, just to keep it consistent. World get name. Okay, and then we've got the world, start location, end location. So if I go and clear out the config, this is another proof of concept again. Close others, close that, open these again. Just gonna add in some basic stuff. We want dungeon name not provided, both of these at the end here. And then dungeon there we go. And then we can put that in the other one. Pretty simple. And then rp.send message. End location set to plus get plugin dot location to string end location, and then we go to here and we do the same, and we just do start location. Fucking fantastic. Start location set to blah. Cool. Now we know whether it works or not. So let's see what we've got. This is the best thing about this, because now that I've got working examples, and it like properly works, and there's nothing particularly convoluted going on at the moment, I can just bash through all of these bits of functionality, probably in a couple hours, have all of the core setting blocks, setting enemy types, all that kind of stuff, and then we can almost get to the point where we start implementing the logic for the dungeons. Now that was a tricky thing to get working. Conceptually straightforward. It ended up basically being iterate over all of the enemies, create a list of enemies that spawn. When the player pulls a lever or presses a button or stands on a pressure plate, whatever it may be, it spawns randomly from the list of enemies, randomly on viable spawn locations within the predefined area. But there was a lot of things for transitioning between what am I going for here? There's a lot of issues I had transitioning between phases of the dungeon, where it's cleaning up before going to the next wave and stuff. So create dungeon, test, internal error occurred. Let's see. Cannot set to an empty path. Where's this? Line 20. That's a new one. Really? How have we managed that then? Because that worked first time. I don't need to do anything else here. Nope, that's just adding it to the list. I wonder why this happened. Because it didn't say dungeon already exists by the name of, or name not provided. So it worked. Perform command 28. So it was doing that and something went wrong. That doesn't seem likely to me. Dungeons.getName. It's empty, which it should be. It's having trouble with this. And this shouldn't be null. Create a new dungeon. And in dungeon we create new dungeon data. Baffling. Sorry, that just looks wrong to me. There we go. Very interesting. Okay. Logger.info. Looks like we're doing info strings today. Get dungeon name. Simple as that. set to an empty path. And let's do the same in here. Okay, let's try again. Even, sorry, run as install. Don't do that. God damn it, that's so irritating. Thank you. Okay, let's try this then. Oh, I've gone and closed it again, haven't I? Oh, for God's sake. Pin to taskbar. Minecraft. Nope. Server, plugins, replace. Let's try again. See where it goes wrong. I'm just gonna get another cup of tea. Okay, right. Let's see how far it gets, shall we? Pardon me. Create dungeon test. What happened? It did both. And it's dungeon data 21. Oh, whoops. I've got the dot. Ah, because the dot signifies that there's another part of the path. Okay, that's all. Pretty straightforward, but you know, just cost me like 10 minutes. Fun. Stop. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, hopefully it's as straightforward as that. Now I didn't add the other commands in here, so let's do that whilst we're here. Close others, save, open that, open that, open that. Copy that. Perfect. That's done. Go back into the server and we should be good to go. In theory. God, it's at 8:30 already. Jesus. But dungeon test has been created. Wrong file browser. This plugins, dungeons, config, edit. Dungeons, test, world. Okay, and now let's try the other two commands. So I can't use the other commands because they don't exist. So all I have to do, as I've just literally just added them, and it's ends at start. Yep, looks good. Not new. Run as. Maven install. Stop the server. Because the config defines what commands are available. As it's easier to read from that, I believe. Put that in here. It's probably quicker for the application, and it can compile a full list of commands as well then. Someone appears to be on my actual Minecraft server though. Forest Das. That's cool. Oh my god, yeah, whenever I run my own server, this shader is like, no thank you. Okay. Okay, so slash set start locate. Oh, I keep the test dungeon by that name doesn't exist. Oh yeah, because we've yeah. Okay, so slash create dungeon test2. Test2. Yeah. Go into here, reload. There still should have been the wait, would it varied it? It probably would have broke it. Yeah. Okay. Don't worry, I think it should be okay. If I stop. But it works. We've now got this format. This music's getting a little obnoxious now. There we go. Jesus. I made quite a lot of progress today. Basically made the guilds thing work, and then starting to get the dungeon stuff. Now this is like the core of it. I just need to start making it so you can add enemies to the dungeon. We're gonna do the add enemies, set spawn block, and then implement a basic spawn enemies method for a dungeon that forcibly just performs the spawn action, which isn't what it would inevitably do, but just as a proof of concept, and that would be pretty cool. once I've got that all implemented. So I just need 2 more commands to be able to make that work, and then the logic for spawning all of the enemies inside it. So yeah, I will work on that another time because it's 8:30 and I'm very tired. I actually just want to play the game, to be honest, and see if this other guy wants to help me test my mod. So we'll close that. Not run calculator. But yeah, thanks again if anyone is there, continue watching and stuff. I will maybe come on tomorrow morning.